sir.
Now, let's talk about you. I like you, by the way, for whatever that matters. Since I may vote for you, that ought to matter to you. One thing that stood out about your record is that when you look at the almanac of the federal judiciary, lawyers anonymously rate judges in terms of temperament. And here's what they said about you. She's a terror on the bench. She's temperamental, excitable, she seems angry. She's overly aggressive, not very judicial. She does not have a very good temperament. She abuses lawyers. She really lacks judicial temperament. She behaves in an out-of-control manner. She makes inappropriate outbursts. She is nasty to lawyers. She will attack lawyers for making an argument she does not like. She can be a bit of a bully. When you look at the evaluation of the judges on the Second Circuit, you stand out like a sore thumb in terms of your temperament. What is your answer to these criticisms?
I do ask tough questions at oral argument.
Are you the only one that asks tough questions in oral argument?
No, not at all. I can only explain what I'm doing, which is when I ask lawyers tough questions, it's to give them an opportunity to explain their positions on both sides and to persuade me that they're right. I do know that in the Second Circuit, because we only give litigants 10 minutes of oral argument each, that the processes in the Second Circuit are different than in most other circuits across the country. And that some lawyers do find that our court, which is not just me, but our court generally is described as a hot bench. It's a term of art lawyers use. It means that they're peppered with questions. Lots of lawyers who are unfamiliar with the process in the Second Circuit find that tough bench difficult and challenging.
If I may interject, Judge, they find you difficult and challenging more than your colleagues. And the only reason I mention this is it stands out when you know, there are many positive things about you, and these hearings are designed to talk about the good and the bad, and I never liked appearing before a judge that I thought was a bully. It's hard enough being a lawyer, having your client there to begin with without the judge just beating you up for no good reason. Do you think you have a temperament problem?
No, sir. I can only talk about what I know about my relationship with the judges of my court and with the lawyers who appear regularly from our circuit. And I believe that my reputation is such that I ask the hard questions, but I do it evenly for both sides.
In fairness to you, there are plenty of statements in the record in support of you as a person that do not go down this line. But I would just suggest to you, for what it's worth, Judge, as you go forward here, that these statements about you are striking. They're not about your colleagues. You know, the 10-minute rule applies to everybody, and that, you know, obviously you've accomplished a lot in your life, but maybe these hearings are time for self-reflection. This is pretty tough stuff that you don't see from about other judges on the Second Circuit. Let's talk about the wise Latino comment yet again. And the only reason I want to talk about it yet again is that I think what you said, let me just put my biases on the table here. One of the things that I constantly say when I talk about the war on terror is that one of the missing ingredients in the Mideast is the rule of law that Senator Schumer talked about, that the hope for the Mideast, Iraq and Afghanistan, is that there'll be a courtroom one day that if you find yourself in that court, it'll be about what you allegedly did, not who you are. It won't be about whether you're a Sunni, Shia, a Kurd, or a Pashtun. It will be about what you did. And that's the hope of the world, really, that our legal system, even though we fail at times, will spread. And I hope one day that there will be more women serving in elected office and judicial offices in the Mideast, because I can tell you this from my point of view, one of the biggest problems in Iraq and Afghanistan is a mother's voice is seldom heard about the fate of her children. And if you wanted to change Iraq, apply the rule of law and have more women involved in having a say about Iraq. And I believe that about Afghanistan. And I think that's true here. I think for a long time, a lot of talented women were asked, can you type? And we're trying to get beyond that and improve as a nation. So when it comes to the idea that we should consciously try to include more people in the legal process and the judicial process from different backgrounds, count me in. But your speeches don't really say that to me. They, along the lines of what Senator Kyle was saying, they kind of represent the idea there's a day coming when there'll be more of us, women and minorities, and we're going to change the law. And what I hope we'll take away from this hearing is they need to be more women and minorities in the law to make a better America. And the law needs to be there for all of us if and when we need it. And the one thing that I've tried to impress upon you through jokes and being serious is the consequences of these words in the world in which we live in. You know, we're talking about putting you on the Supreme Court and judging your fellow citizens. And one of the things that I need to be assured of is that you understand the world as it pretty much really is. And we got a long way to go in this country, and I can't find the quote, but I'll find it here in a moment. A wise Latino quote. Do you remember it?
Yes.
Okay, say it to me.